welcome to Maxim's Inside Track for another edition. Just as a bit of an opening summary, obviously we're seeing a very volatile world at the moment. Just locally here in Australia, we've seen milk come up the last few months, and this particular season we're only looking like being approximately 1% down on last year, and after those incredibly bad droughts and bushfires, this is a pretty incredible result, although off a low base, but pretty solid strength in milk flows in Australia in the back end of the season. We've also seen our Australian milk processors with opening milk prices come out, and there is some pretty big disparities between those prices. However, it looks like a reasonable number to start the season with, and should see milk flows continue as we come into those spring months. I'll start this one off with full cream milk powder. We've seen a good result, a reasonable jump on the GDT, and then supported with China demand and Southeast Asian demand. This will once again lead into New Zealand's milk flow into new season, which looks like being a reasonably good start to the season, and I suspect whole milk powder, to be around about these sort of levels for the next little while. We're getting down towards or close to 4-year lows, so it could be a reasonable buying opportunity for whole milk powder, coming into the next quarter, 6-month period. On to skim milk powder now. We have sort of seen a pop-up of these lows on the back of pretty solid demand. I think there is some short positions out there which people are refilling the pipeline and showing some support for skim. As EU milk flows start to decline, that'll also support these skim prices. I can't see it rallying away from us, but it feels reasonably supported, and probably sideways-ish at these levels for the moment. Moving on to butter and AMF now. The fats on the GDT platform took a little bit of a beating. They were off 3 to 5%, and probably just coming back down and correcting in line with European prices. We've seen European pricing on butter in particular come up, and even to the point where the manufacturers are reluctant to give offers, which makes it a really volatile marketplace in terms of big price swings. This is still a food service demand type area. We have started to see food service outlets opening up. I know in Queensland here we're up to 20 people in any one outlet. So just depending on discretionary spend, government's willingness to open these places, borders opening, people patronising restaurants and clubs and pubs, it may be a short-term spike, and then we may drift off. So fat demand could be patchy, and I'm thinking potentially some slight downside in this category going into the next quarter. Moving on to cheddar now. Once again, just on that GDT platform, we've seen cheese or cheddar come down. Once again, just coming back in line with European and US offerings. We have seen some massive volatility out of the US, some of the biggest swings in 30 days ever on the CME in particular, with a bottoming out and a rebounding up to 4 or 5 year highs. So some real volatility there, just based on that food service market reopening up and demand for the short term being there, and that's also been fueled by government intervention with a food box program, which is buoying or supporting that demand out of the US. European prices are still the most competitive, and we're seeing them extremely competitive in, say, the Japanese and Asian markets, where Australia and New Zealand has held footholds for many years. So they'll continue to compete in those markets, and at the moment they're proving to be pretty competitive. I suspect that this category, once again, depending on food service opening up and being patronised, to be soft-ish. Moving on to whey and lactose, the last category that we discuss. Lactose is still strong, much the same as the last fortnight's report, in particular around that infant nutrition side of things, and even the standard product is reasonably buoyant. Sweet whey powder drifting off and has shown a little bit of support, kicked back up again, and the protein, still a bit of a mixed bag on the protein side of it. And once again, anything with or infant grade product is commanding a solid premium over regular grade product. Thank you very much for listening. This is our 50th edition of the Maxim Inside Track. It's been a pleasure to bring it to you. We'll continue to keep on top of it and continue to post it, and stay safe out there, and look forward to catching up with you soon. Thank you.